Shoot! Lekka Piechota, or light infantry, is the most extreme tactical shooting competition, period. It's held in the far north of Poland, near the Baltic Sea, and it's special because it combines all the important tasks that infantry could face on a potential battlefield. Each team of 2 shooters has to work together to overcome the challenges over the course of 36 hours, with no rest even at the night time. What makes it even more challenging is that you have to carry all of the gear, weapons, ammunition and food on you at all times. So why would someone even want to do this, much less pay for the experience? Well, I can tell you that it's amazing. The shooting range itself is diverse, with cleverly designed obstacles, and allows you to shoot from close-range CQB to 500 meters long-range engagement. And the part that ties the whole competition together is the navigation part, where you have to find hidden points over a massive terrain of woods, grasslands and even urban areas. And the best thing is, you get to do it in your full combat gear, guns included. I love this competition because it pushes your mental and physical capabilities to the max, while also exposing your guns and gear to harsh environmental conditions. If it works here, it will probably work anywhere. And what better way to start this than this puddle of sewage? If you want to complete this stage, you will have to submerge yourself and your rifle completely. The most important lesson here is that you must get all the water out of your barrel before you take the first shot. If you don't, you get a kaboom. This stage seems relatively easy if you made some preparations beforehand. If you have a properly cleaned and lubricated rifle, the water should not impede on the operation of the rifle or shift the impact. Regardless, after multiple shots, the rifle and the suppressor are getting hot, spewing water and steam with each shot, which can make it very difficult to hit the target. Here, it's not worth going fast. If you destroy your rifle, you're out. It makes sense to take some extra time, remove the magazine and open the bolt so the water has a chance to exit from both sides, the muzzle and the chamber. Only after I'm completely sure that there's no water left in the barrel, I load the rifle and make the first shots. No time to wait. We adjust our gear and go straight into the tunnel. First of the pair has a loaded handgun and has to shoot each steel popper at least 3 times. The tunnel is very small and restricts your movement. It gives you this uneasy claustrophobic feeling, but at least this time it's not full of mud. It is a bit of a maze and you have to check each corner so we don't miss any targets. What makes it even worse is that we are not wearing any pants, much less knee pads. This means that with each move, sand, sharp rocks and hot shell casings are digging into our knees. 5 stars for unique experience. Quickly load out the gear and move out. We have less than a minute to get to the next shooting point. Wet, cold and out of breath. I have to hit 3 small poppers 3 times each at 170 meters, only using this branch as the support. In situations like these, the extra magnification and the lens quality of my LPVO really comes handy. The key here is to relax, ignore the distractions and hold your breath when pressing the trigger. I think I did good. I hit 7 out of 9 total shots. We didn't have time to think about it, we just have to move on.
Okay. Bro. I love the Schweizer. Damn it.
The swing is an interesting romantic stage. Both shooters are suspended on the same platform and have to hit different arrays of targets at different distances. The challenge here is the unnatural and unstable shooting position, but also the more you shoot, the more you propel the swing. The key here is good communication between two shooters, because every move messes your sight picture. Since the time on this stage is limited, you cannot afford to wait for the swing to stop moving, so it also needs some problem solving and improvisation. Essentially, we were both aiming at the targets, and if you get a good, clear sight picture, you just took the shot and hope for the best.
I'm sweating so much.
White small circle.
Okay.
Not all stages require both shooters to engage the targets, so I'm shooting this one alone and Luka is providing support. The goal here is to use these 3 small restrictive openings to hit a target at 100 meters, but if you hit the cover, you get penalty points. No clear sight picture on the last one, so I decided to shoot past the barrier and only get 2/3 of the combined points. Here's a nice example of teamwork and strategy. We agreed that Luka will be shooting with my rifle and I will be spotting the targets. The key here was to find the targets and hit them in correct order. My job was to process all of this information and relay it to the shooter in a simple manner. His job was to hit the targets. Kayaking is probably the simplest part of this competition, but it's far from easy. I don't know what kind of shit canoes are these, but they're impossible to steer. You're going towards the bank, you try to row, and you just go straight. It does not want to go in the direction that you want to go. The water level was very low this year, and the creek bed is full of hidden rocks, branches, and other obstacles. And even if you manage to successfully maneuver around those things, you still have to pay attention to low-hanging trees and other bullshit. But there are moments of bliss and joy, when you can sit back, relax, and enjoy the moment. Indulge in a quick snack and take in this beautiful Polish countryside. When night falls, navigation and obstacle avoidance becomes a bit harder, but not impossible. There are moments of joy and sheer terror. The main goal here is not to capsize. In the middle of the lake at midnight, with no GPS signal, I got a chilling realization. If the kayak starts to go down, we lose 6,000 euros of guns, optics and gear never to be seen again. Thank God that didn't happen.
Polenar tactical. Wow.
There are 30 different shooting stages at this competition that you have to complete over the course of 2 days. In this one of the pair has to drag a kettlebell to the position and the other has to hit the popper. It looks very simple until you get tired and start to miss. You can change the roles mid-stage if you run out of ammo or you can't drag the kettlebell anymore. The next one is as much of a memory test than it is shooting, as you receive a certain word and you have to hit each circle with a letter as many times as it appears in the word. Our plan here was to memorize the word and split it in 2 sections. Each one of us shot our own part, but what made it even more difficult is the sight over board difference, as we were hitting much lower than our aim was. This one was quite fun, probably more for me than Luka. My job was to read equations in each circle, solve them, and shoot that circle as many times as it is the result. Now Luka's job was to move the 32-kilo kettlebell in and outside of the tire for each shot. If we failed to do that, we would get penalty points.
Okay. Don't try.
I tried it like this. No way in hell. Like fucking this. Oh.
Some stages are simpler than others. Here you have to climb the ladder to get on the roof and then use the strap to pull the tire all the way up. Then you go to prone position and have to engage a couple of targets at 100 meters. When you hit, you're done. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. The climbing wall can present a technical challenge, especially for the newer teams. You get extra points if you are able to put the gear on correctly and secure each other. I'm going up first and Luka is clipped on the same rope removing slack and securing my ascent. The climbing part is not that hard, but can be difficult with all of the gear and military boots. When I'm up, we change the roles, Lekka clips in, and I use the belay device to secure him. When we are both on top, we have to quickly load the rifles, find the targets and engage them. Got the last hit by the second. Now the only thing left is to fast rope down and continue with the other stages. This looks deceivingly easy when you look from the ground up, but when you are on that ledge looking down, it's high enough to make you feel uneasy. No time to lose. Lekka jumps into the tire stack and I help him get out. I boost him up over the obstacle and give him the rifle. A couple of hits and we're golden. Arguably, the hardest part of this competition is the navigation. It's not as simple as just finding the points. You have to traverse a large area of terrain, go through woods, natural obstacles, and often uphill to get to the points. What makes it even more complex is that you have limited time windows during your shooting stages, where you have to organize by yourself and decide which of the points you will try to capture. If you miscalculate, run out of time, or do not find one of the points, you risk being late to the shooting stages and losing points there. This is exactly what happened to us last year. So this year we came better prepared, both physically and mentally. Once again, we used a combination of an MGRS app on the smartphone and a good old paper map and compass. The idea here is to quickly find a direction with the app and start travel by the roads towards the point. When on the move, we analyze the map and check for crossroads and other markers to designate the best point where we go off-road. Depending on the terrain, we want to do that as close to the point as possible, because traveling by roads is the fastest and most energy-efficient way. When we are in a general area of the checkpoint, we intentionally stop using the application, as it can be deceiving. Even with a great GPS signal, it does not have enough accuracy, so it will jump around and play with your mind. With some points you get lucky, especially at the beginning of the competition, where a lot of competitors are searching for nearby points. You spot them, they've already found the point, and you just go there and you can immediately find it. And for this competition right now we have a secret gesture. This we have to do this on the picture, and this is because some of the points are duplicated from last year, so people cannot cheat and just use last year's pictures. The tower stage is not for the faint of heart. It's a very tall structure made from construction platforms, and let me tell you, it's even less sturdy than it looks. When you are way on the top, you can feel it sway in the wind. But we are on the clock, so there is no time for fear. We just have to push on and complete the stage. What makes this stage so challenging is that every movement is translated into the movement of the structure, so both of the contestants feel it. You have to make precise hits at small targets at distance, and if one of the pair is moving, you're unable to shoot. Gas mask stage is simple. You have to crawl under the barbed wire and hit a couple of targets from designated areas. What makes it tricky is that your body is crawling in front of you, so you have to watch your muzzle. And the second thing is trying to get a good side picture through the gas mask. I really had to squish my face to the stock to see the eye box on this LPVO, but it was doable. I love this stage design because it's simple but presents quite a challenge to finish it without getting any penalties. The idea here is to stand only on the logs, and if you touch the ground with any part of your body, you get a penalty. The shooting positions are always at the end of these logs, and you have to touch the end of the log with your knee. As you can see here, it's quite a balancing act to get into a proper position and get a hit on a target. This Polish roller coaster is boring.
Oh!
What you have to do is you have to hit a couple of targets while you're moving on this cart. The vehicle ambush is one of those stages where it's fun, relatively easy to do, and you don't see on any other competition. Essentially, what you have to do here, you have an array of steel targets that you have to hit 3 times each, and then both of the competitors work in pairs, first shooting out of the car, then you have to dismount, and you have to move from one car to another, engaging the same targets. Here the arrow is calling random numbers, and our job is to run around the cone to the number that was called and make one hit. You only have one shot at each run, so if you miss, you get no points. And essentially you have to do this for whole 3 minutes, and your overall hits are your score. At this moment, Lekka had a critical malfunction with his AR. One of the shell casings expanded and got stuck in the chamber. I suspect this was because of dirt and sand in the magazine, and the casing was so stuck that the extractor was not able to pull it out. It was jumping the rim. Lekka tried everything, but unfortunately at this moment this was not a fixable jam. And I have a pro tip what you can do. Hello guys, I have this rifle. Can you please show me how this cleans?
Oh, cool. Of course we can.
Gonna take mine as well?
Yeah, guys. See you in 3 minutes.
We were super lucky that the guys from Rifle CX were at the event, and they had a promotion where they used their cleaning products to clean your gun. Of course, we selfishly used them to help us clear the jam and also clean our guns. But I guess this kind of promotion works, because we were so impressed by the results that we actually decided to become dealers for the Rifle CX and their cleaning products. So if you need a complete cleaning system or just certain cleaning products, you can hit up polenartactical.com/shop and you can find everything. This video was sponsored by us. Thank you for your support.
I do it to myself?
Yeah, come on.
A new thing this year were the tactical tasks. After each shooting evolution, you had to go to a designated area and complete a certain tactical task. My favorite one was probably the medical aid under fire. It looks like I'm joking around, but we actually took it quite seriously. In this scenario, I moved to Lekka's position, had to do a preliminary check and stabilize the wound. Apparently there was a lot of blood coming from his arm, so I decided to use a tourniquet. As we are on the battlefield and I didn't have time to remove the clothing or figure where the wound is, I just decided to go high and tight. There's another wound with massive bleeding and I have to use wound packing to stop it.
I see that you know how to unpack the wound. You fill all cavity. There is no enough space to put more.
Okay.
Okay, so what you will do next?
Now I would apply pressure for at least 3 minutes,
Okay.
and then do compress.
3 minutes has elapsed.
After I successfully stopped the bleeding on this imaginary wound, I would have to apply the compressive bandage, but honestly this is a very tricky area and it's very hard to do. Here I instruct Lekka to keep pressure on the wound when I'm trying to get the bandage into the position. I go through the motions and I show that I know what it has to be done, but the end result is less than optimal. This would not be a good compressive bandage. Still, it was good enough for this tactical task, so we move on. A sucking chest wound. First, I would have to remove the clothing, clean the wound, and then apply the occlusive dressing. But since we're playing pretend soldiers here, it's enough that I go through the motions and explain the steps to complete this task. Last thing is to check for the exit wound, and since there is none, we complete this challenge. To the next task of field stripping guns. You had to disassemble and assemble various small arms like the AK, AR, Uzi and even a PKM machine gun. And to make it just a bit more interesting, they threw in 2 anti-tank rocket systems.
Tank blast area all secured. Rocket.
There are also a couple of simpler stages at this competition. Here, one of the pair has to hold up a concrete weight to keep the window open, and the other has to use that window to shoot and hit a couple of targets.
Go.
There is a one main team through the whole competition: teamwork. If you are not good in communicating and working together, you will fail. Here, I'm doing the manual labor and Lekka is enjoying the machine gun. On the next one, I have to lift up the tire, and as long as I'm holding the tire up, Lekka can engage a target. He's shooting at a spinner at around 120 meters, which is not an easy task. So we decided he will use my rifle because I had more magnification with my LPVO. He did an amazing job turning the spinner before my arms even got tired. Bunker is tricky because you have 2 persons with loaded guns in a very small confined space. The addition of hot suppressors just makes it harder. Kill House is one of those fun stages. You don't have to use any tactics, you just need to locate and positively ID the targets and shoot them as fast as possible. What makes this tricky is that your body and the RO are behind the shooter all the time, so you have to be very aware of your muzzle and how you move.
Okay. Watch out, watch out! Minute and a half.
The tactical task of mine clearing was also quite interesting. We were well aware that these were dummy mines, but we still took it seriously. After locating, securing and marking the mine, we also had a job of setting up a booby trap for the incoming forces. A simple hand grenade attached to a tree with a tripwire will do. The final touches, a little bit of camouflage, and it's ready. Mortar task also sounds interesting, but it isn't. It's just a big-ass concrete block that weighs over 50 kilos and does not even resemble a mortar. It indicates the start and end of the navigation part of the competition. So at the beginning of the competition, you have to get this mortar and carry it to a designated point. And on the last day, when you're done with the navigation, you have to pick up the mortar from the other location and bring it back to the base. It sounds simple, but only if you know about it and you prepare in advance. On our first year at this competition, we underestimated this task and it did not end well. In the evening, night navigation starts. It's the same as day navigation, just much harder.
Now imagine this in any other country than Poland. It's 10 p.m. in the evening. We are very far north, so the sun didn't settle yet. The nights are very short, so it's still light. But at 10 p.m. we're coming to someone's home, searching for a point, armed, dressed like this. And we have the point.
At 1 a.m. in the night, we had to be back at the range for the night shooting part. Sadly, Luca's AR got another jam. Again, it was a shell casing that expanded in the chamber and did not want to clear. This means that I had to do this awesome bounding drill at night by myself. It was still very cool though.
Get in!
Kill House at night was very tricky. Essentially, it was like playing a memory game. You had a couple of faces that you had to remember that represented terrorists, and you had to shoot the corresponding targets. Of course, if you shoot other targets, you got penalties.
We're done with the night shooting stages, and now comes the fun part. More navigation at night, long range.
The navigation part is completed and we are only minutes away from the end of the competition. The only thing left are the 400 and 500 meter stages. You only have 3 shots to hit a small metal target. As we didn't have the chance to zero our rifles at these distances at home, so we had to fully rely on the ballistic calculator. We didn't have much hope for this and we failed to connect with the target. The ending of this competition left a bitter taste, but despite all of the hurdles, we still managed to get an amazing result. We got 7th place overall, and this is with a double amount of teams, so 80 this year instead of 40 last year. And what surprised us even more is that we managed to get 5th place from all the shooting stages combined out of 150 teams.